Hi everybody, I am Saeed and you are watching the Key channel. A broken hinge of a laptop monitor is a relatively common problem. In this video, I'm gonna tell you how to repair it. Above all, maybe you are trying to find a culprit for the problem of your laptop. I need to tell you that these are not really hinges that are broken. Those broken parts are related to the base of your laptop on which those hinges are screwed by the manufacturer. Also, remember that these are not really called broken parts. These are not really broken. These are mechanically failed parts. Imagine that you divide a piece of wire into a couple of pieces without the help of any type of tool. What you naturally do is to bend it in opposite directions several times, and finally it fails. What happens in here is called fatigue. It's a mechanical term. Really, you are exerting a cyclic pressure and tension on that piece of wire. And finally, it reaches to a specific point which is called fatigue and also at the end failure. When you are bending that piece, this is not exactly the bending that creates that failure. Bending finally translated into pressure, tension. If the number of cycles is something more than a critical number, and if the loads are enough, finally that piece reaches to a kind of failure point. This is exactly fatigue. Something quite similar to it happens to your laptop. You open and close the lid several times, just in 1 week for example. And because of that, the loads are quite enough on the screws of your laptop. And when the cycle is something more than a specific number, failure occurs for those parts. So the culprit is something related to the nature itself. You cannot blame anyone, including yourself, your friend who has just recently used your laptop, or anyone else, not even the manufacturer itself. As I mentioned, I'm gonna tell you how to fix this problem for your laptop. But first, buy Epoxy Paste. This is a product which is created from a couple of components. You need to blend them together, create a kind of paste which is completely flexible, and you can use it anywhere that you want. But after some hours, typically something more than 12 hours, which is based on the manufacturer, it becomes as hard as a stone. The reason why we want to use it instead of any kind of adhesive is that the failed parts inside your laptop are very small. They do not provide you with enough area to use any type of adhesive. Because of that, we want to use epoxy paste. Second, for your specific model of laptop, search the YouTube to understand how to disassemble your laptop. Of course, it is impossible to guess how to do it. You need to first find some videos about it and then understand how to disassemble it. If you don't do that, if you want to guess how to disassemble it, then your next problem would be how to reassemble it. So watch some videos about it and prepare needed tools. Remember that the older your laptop is, the more sophisticated the process would be. And third, you are not about to do something easy. Really, in some parts of this process, you need to be an artist temporarily. You need to be a sculptor. If all of these 3 preconditions are fulfilled, this is a time to start. This is a laptop that you have seen at the beginning of this video. I've disassembled it, and as you can see, one of the hinges doesn't have any problem. And if I try to fasten it to screws, it is quite possible. They don't rotate freely. You will be encountered with something like this. When you look at the other hinge, you will see that it is failed. I can't fasten the screws because they are rotating freely. If you look at it from the other side, you'll see that underneath there are a couple of nuts. They should be on the base of the laptop, not here. You need to disassemble them to be able to use them on the laptop again. To prepare epoxy paste, start with collecting the amount that you need from one of them. The part number 1. Do not forget to seal it again. And then number 2 or B. Collect the same amount. And again, do not forget to seal it. Blend them and massage them. As you see, it is created from a couple of different colors. One of them is near to cream and another one is white. Massage it until you feel that everything is quite even and you have just one color. It takes something more than 2 minutes. The epoxy paste is ready. Start with using epoxy paste to fill up all around the parts related to the mounts of the hinges, as you can see in here. The ideal condition is that you pick up a piece of solid epoxy paste and then use it on all of these parts. It is quite impossible in many cases. You need to use smaller parts, and of course, doing so, like the things that I'm doing in here, decreases the final strength. Then you need to put those small nuts on their places, and then apply epoxy paste around them. I start with one of them, which is slightly easier. Rotate it until you feel that it is fit there underneath. At this moment, you need to be a sculptor. The next one is more tricky. It has lost all of the plastic parts around it, so I don't have anything to fit it with base of the laptop. Looking at my gloves, I feel to be a dentist instead of a sculptor in here. Next, you need to check some parts around those materials that you have used to see whether or not they are on the way of these parts of the laptop. This board is very near to the area that I have used epoxy paste. And here, still I feel a kind of obstacle. So I press the epoxy paste with my fingers. Slightly bitter. And if you slightly press it, here still some problems. If you press it, you will see some traces behind on the epoxy paste. Look at this. So it is clear that I need to slightly press this part. This is the obstacle right now. Seems to be great. Now the board is completely away from the epoxy paste. And look at this. You need to apply epoxy paste even on the base of the hinge that apparently doesn't have any problem. Seems to be crazy, but it is exactly the thing that you need to do. Right now, when your laptop is disassembled and you have enough space to do such a thing, this is exactly the time to do it. In mechanics, when you have a couple of things serving for the same purpose, very similar to each other, but you see just one of them has failed, it means that both have problems. So you need to do some treatments and repairs on both. Despite the fact that apparently just one is problematic, you need to use epoxy paste on the second one. This board has no problem. And this is a great time to apply epoxy paste on other parts that you see that has some cracks, problems, failures like this. Now, this is a time to clean up anything that you can see around yourself, anything that was involved in this process. Use a piece of fabric, moisturize with water, and clean up anything that you can see. Your laptop parts, your tools, your table, and your hands. Because at this moment, it is very easy to clean remainings of the epoxy paste. And after several hours, it becomes so rigid that you cannot clean it anymore. Now that the epoxy paste has become very rigid, I want to reassemble the laptop. I don't show you all of the process, but I want to reach to the hinges. The left side didn't have any problem for this laptop. And then the right side. It is very similar to the left side right now. I can screw it and I can fasten the screws. I'm done. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.